What if I told you the reigning queen of reality TV's mind games, the woman who turned emotional messiness into a masterpiece, just got outmaneuvered by a few screenshots? Brace yourself, because Chris Webber didn't just walk into court, he came in swinging. And no, he didn't show up with a team of lawyers. He brought receipts, digital, time-stamped, ruthless. They didn't just suggest Jackie Christie's name, they screamed it in high resolution. These weren't love notes or late night I miss you texts. This was move the money, Doug can't find out territory. And the most brutal line of all? Tell Chantel she wasn't planned. Yeah, that was real. One moment, the courtroom buzzed with tension. The next, total silence. Chris laid everything bare. Jackie's secret trips, fake charity moves, the tangled affair timeline, even claims of a second abortion masked in lies. Doug looked like someone drained the life out of him. Jackie sat frozen, lips barely holding together, eyes locked forward like blinking might bring everything crashing down. Chantel? Not there. Already unraveling from the rumors and about to be crushed under the truth. So how did this explode? Where'd Chris get these receipts? Why now? Let's just say Jackie didn't drop her secrets. Chris dragged them into daylight. What should have been a routine court appearance became a televised emotional takedown. Chris didn't testify. He detonated. Picture it. One folder, one man, and a room full of people reacting like they just watched betrayal happen live. Even the court reporter paused, turned to the bailiff, and mouthed, "Did he really just say that?" But this storm didn't start in the courtroom. It began with quiet whispers, grew in the shadows, and then it exploded under a judge's stare, paparazzi flashes, and a family turned to rubble. Chris Webber stepped in with a slim black folder. He left with Jackie's image in tatters, Doug breaking down, and Chantel allegedly sobbing in the hallway, refusing to face either parent. So what exactly was in that folder? What made Chris go from calm to cataclysm? Let's rewind 3 weeks. No one saw it coming. Chris, Mr. Stay Out the Drama, lit the whole place on fire. And when he walked into that courtroom, folder in hand, eyes blazing, even the guards flinched. Now, picture Jackie Christie in the front row, dressed like she's off to brunch. Chin high, lashes on point, pretending like the iceberg wasn't about to hit. Doug, pale and disoriented, like sleep forgot his name. Chantel stayed away, therapist's orders to dodge emotional landmines. Thank God. What was coming would have shattered her in the moment. This wasn't just a hearing anymore. It was a reckoning for everyone in the room. And then, it started. The judge called Chris to the stand. The room tightened. Jackie blinked too often. Doug didn't blink once. Chris stepped up, calm and clean, like he was reading bedtime stories, only every sentence was a scalpel, and he came to cut deep. He drops the folder, opens it like a menu, and says loud enough for everyone to hear, "Your Honor, I've been silent long enough since Jackie made my life a storyline. Let me return the favor." And just like that, page 1, dozens of texts highlighted, circled, dated, marked up like a script. These weren't harmless messages. They were plots, secrets, pulled straight from Jackie's phone. First message, 2:14 a.m. Doug thinks I'm at my sister's, but I'm dreaming of Maui, of you. I feel alive again. The impact? Doug's jaw drops. Jackie's smile vanishes like fading stage lights. Silence hits the room except for one cameraman whispering, "Oh, hell no!" Chris flips the page like it's comics. The next one cuts deeper. I see Chantel and wonder what life could have been if we weren't afraid. I still have our balcony. Photo behind Doug's wedding picture. Doug turns away, rage and disbelief crashing together. This wasn't some old mistake. This was still happening. A love triangle alive in real time, with a child at its center. Jackie didn't just lie, she managed it like a pro. Her whole image built on loyalty, while meeting the man who broke it all. The worst part? Chantel never asked for this. Never wanted to be proof of a betrayal or a pawn between two parents and a man she hardly remembers. Now, in front of everyone, Jackie's cover is gone. And Chris? He's just getting started. Because those texts? They were only the beginning. He says there's more. Deleted messages Jackie tried to erase but failed. Why? Because Chris had backups. Synced, saved, like he knew she'd come for the truth. And in those archives, signs the affair wasn't just personal, it was financial. Chris says Jackie used Doug's name, money, and blind trust to cover her steps. She lived 2 lives, Chris said to the judge, calm. With Doug, she acted perfect. With me, she was real. She begged me to keep quiet. I did. But after what she's done lately, I'm finished pretending. The judge bangs the gavel to calm the chaos. Jackie leans into her lawyer, whispering fast. Doug stays frozen, fists clenched, knuckles white as chalk. He won't speak, won't look up, just stares at the floor like it might swallow him whole. The public? They're glued, consuming every moment like live TV. Twitter crashes under the pressure of Jack Weber leaks. Old basketball wives clips flood the internet. Fans break them down frame by frame. Jackie's odd trips, strange remarks, secret weekends. Instagram detectives go full FBI overnight, connecting dots at lightning speed. Then it gets messier. A second leak drops, this time from someone close to the trial. A new text, too hot for court, hits the web anyway. It reads, "I've wanted to leave Doug more times than I can count. You're the only one I trust with the truth. Don't make me regret this." And that truth? Chantel may have always known something wasn't right. Paternity. The unspoken bomb. Jackie allegedly knew Chris could be Chantel's real father and begged him to stay silent, all to protect her image. Whispers say there's even a deleted video call where Jackie breaks down to Chris, sobbing, "I raised a lie into a daughter, and now I don't know how to fix it." Now, her legal team is reportedly racing to recover the footage from an old iCloud backup. But Chris? Unbothered. He ends his testimony like he's reading a shopping list, folds the papers, leans back, composed, cold. Like he didn't just destroy a family with his bare hands. Doug's lawyer jumps up, practically shouting, "Your Honor, we request a recess immediately." Jackie looks like she's aged 2 decades in the last 20 minutes. Ghost pale, shaky, lips barely parting. As the courtroom begins to clear, one witness swears they heard her whisper to her attorney, "He said he'd never read those texts, not in public." But Chris doesn't flinch. He exits the courtroom like a man who's been waiting years to breathe, then turns to the cameras and drops a line that instantly goes viral. Sometimes the truth hurts, sometimes it heals. Either way, it's time. Outside, the scene turns into chaos. Doug snaps, slams his hand into the hallway wall so hard the frame shudders, screams at no one. "He was my brother. He was my brother." Then vanishes into a private room, trailed by a stampede of reporters. Microphones flood the space. TMZ, Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked. One journalist shouts, "Were you and Chris ever close?" Another yells about rumored hotel footage of Jackie and Chris from 2021. A courthouse janitor claims the video might actually exist. This is no longer scandal. This is digital carnage. Now, people aren't asking if Jackie cheated. They're asking if her whole life was an act. Was any of it real? Did Doug know? Is Chantel even speaking to either of them now? The internet is burning and no one's putting out the fire, because we haven't even reached the worst part yet. The courtroom reconvenes. Doug doesn't return, still wrecked from the emotional fallout. Jackie's barely holding herself up, a shell of the woman she was. And Chris? Calm as ever, he steps back to the stand, straightens his tie, and just when everyone thinks it's over, he reaches for his phone. "Your Honor," Chris says, voice steady, locking eyes with the judge. "With permission, I'd like to present a few more messages from my backup archive." Audible gasps ripple across the room. Jackie's lawyers almost fall out of their seats. Her face turns white as paper. Chris unlocks the phone, scrolls, opens a folder, and begins reading. July 8th, 2016. Jackie wrote, "I wish I could tell Doug the truth, but it would destroy him. You've always been the only place I felt safe." The room turned to ice. Then, August 12th, 2017, Jackie again. "He's so obsessed with coaching, he doesn't even notice when I leave. You've always seen me in ways he never could." A juror covers their mouth. Another murmurs, "This is insane." But Chris doesn't flinch. Message after message spills out. 7 years of secret meetings, fake causes, coded lies, betrayal dressed in charity work. One reads, "We'll say it's a fundraiser. I'll bring Chantel. He won't question it. You've always been more of a father to her than he ever was." Jackie breaks. She hides her face in her palms, her shoulders trembling. From the hallway, Chantel, who had slipped in unseen, breaks into sobs. A clerk hurries to Jackie. The crowd is frozen, stunned, processing. The judge is expressionless. And outside, Jackie's name explodes to #1 worldwide. Then Chris looks down at his phone, scrolls with slow purpose, and says, "This one's from last year, March 18th. He reads, "Doug is broke and I'm done pretending. You and I made Chantel's future, not him. You should have been the one at the way." Premieres. The silence is unbearable, thick, total. Jackie's empire didn't just crack, it collapsed, instantly and publicly. The judge looked like she'd seen the unthinkable, like even years of trials hadn't prepared her for this. A court reporter tweeted, "I've sat through homicide. Cases. Nothing felt like that one text." And Jackie, no denial, no protest. Just a quiet lean toward her lawyer and a whisper no one caught. But TikTok caught her lips. And what did they read? "He wasn't supposed to keep those." Not, "They're fake." Not, "That's a lie." Just, "He wasn't supposed to keep those." That's when everyone knew it was real. Chris didn't glance back as he passed her, cold, expressionless. The bailiff walked him out, but a paparazzi caught the faintest smirk, like he knew he'd just lit the final flame. Outside, pandemonium. Protesters chanted. Some waved signs, "Free Doug." Others yelled, "Tell the truth, Jackie." And then, Chantel. Her response? A single black square on Instagram. No caption, no story, nothing. But it said everything. To the world, it was confirmation she's done with her mom. Inside, Jackie's legal team scrambled, desperate to strike the text from the record. But the judge was unshaken. Her tone cut deep. "This court seeks truth, and if these texts are genuine, we are not simply dealing with betrayal. We may be looking at criminal conduct." Now the story had shifted. This wasn't drama, it was legal warfare. Words like perjury, fraud, and financial concealment echoed across the courtroom. And remember, Jackie's nonprofit is already under review. Over $1.2 million raised in 2020, yet less than $18,000 spent on the community? That doesn't add up. Then came another blow. Doug's former assistant, someone no one expected to testify, stood and spoke. He said Jackie once told him to hand-deliver a sealed envelope to Chris. "Don't tell Doug," she said. He hadn't asked questions, but now with emotion cracking in his voice, he admitted, "I didn't know I was helping her hide something. Serious. But now I know I was." From that moment, the courtroom shifted. Investigators began checking Jackie's house surveillance, digging into her emails. Subpoenas were being drawn up for her business partners and financial advisors linked to the Christie family LLCs. The fan base split. Team Doug protested outside. Team Jackie went quiet, some deactivating, others switching profile photos to black. Chris Webber posted a grainy black and white photo of himself. No caption, just 3 words, "Truth over legacy." And when it seemed nothing else could happen, it did. Court reconvened. Chris returned, his forehead bandaged from the earlier scuffle with Doug, but still calm. Jackie sat frozen. Doug, now in shackles, red-eyed and silent. The bailiff handed the judge a sealed envelope. Inside, 32 printed pages. Messages between Jackie and Chris. Dozens from 2015, 2016, 2020, 2023. Late-night texts, vacation plans, "I miss you" messages. Lies lined up. One said, "We'll just say it's a charity trip. Doug won't question it if I bring Chantel." Another, "Doug trusts me too much. He'll never know." That one hit hardest. The judge blinked. The room held its breath. Jackie looked like she might vanish. The prosecution moved to enter the messages as evidence. The defense? Silent. There was nothing to say. Then the final blow. The clerk hit play on a voicemail. Jackie's voice filled the court. Soft, warm, seductive. "I still think about us, Chris. That weekend in Malibu wasn't a mistake. I didn't expect to still feel this way." People shifted in their seats. Chantel ran out in tears. Jackie covered her face, shaking. Doug didn't move, just stared at the floor, as if it betrayed him too. Chris stood. His voice cracked. "I didn't come to ruin lives, but I can't keep living this lie. What Jackie and I had, it wasn't one night. It was a full relationship. One she asked me to hide. One I tried to bury. But Doug's in chains now because of it, and I have to speak." And speak he did. The world heard it. Twitter exploded. TikTok acted it out. YouTube dropped breakdowns with captions. One girl went viral selling shirts that said, "Jackie's lies ain't rebound material." By nightfall, VH1 made a statement. "We are re-evaluating Jackie Christie's participation in future Basketball Wives productions." Translation, she's done. But court wasn't over. The fallout kept rolling. Chantel was about to take the stand. And if you think this hit its peak, think again. What Chantel said next changed everything. For Jackie, for Doug, forever. Ready for that? Let me know, and I'll drop the next piece. Doug's team leaned on one strategy: mental warfare. They argued he'd been broken mentally. Years of lies. Betrayal, collapse. The courtroom outburst? Not rage. A man snapping. But Chris's side came with heat. They brought photos, real ones, of Jackie and Chris still meeting in secret last year, during season 12 filming. That meant someone on production knew. And if they knew and stayed silent, lawsuits are coming. Big ones. Jackie's lawyers scrambled. No longer just protecting her image. They were preparing her for perjury charges. Bombshell. Why? Because Jackie had already filed a sworn statement denying any contact, emotional or physical, with Chris Webber after 2003. And now there's proof she lied. But that wasn't even the final blow of the day, because just as court was wrapping, someone slipped. A mystery envelope under the judge's chamber door. No return label, no sender, just a black flash drive inside a plain white folder stamped with bold red text. "Play this or you're part of the cover-up." Sources inside the courthouse say the drive contains footage pulled straight from Jackie and Doug's home security system, footage showing Chris Webber walking into their mansion at exactly 2:14 a.m. Jackie was home. Doug wasn't. And if that wasn't enough, that same weekend Jackie posted and then deleted an Instagram photo with a cryptic caption: "Some people you never really unlove. Still breathing, boss?" Because this thing just went nuclear. Multiple insiders now confirm federal eyes are on this case. Word is, Jackie may be looking at obstruction charges if it turns out she tampered with evidence or tried to bury key documents tied to the case. Remember those sketchy charity-linked LLCs? Turns out they were co-signed using fake Beverly Hills rental addresses. And guess who signed them? Jackie and Doug. This scandal has grown beyond reality TV. The IRS, California Attorney General, and feds are investigating, reopening tax filings and scrutinizing donations. Doug remains jailed, but his lawyers might flip the case, blaming Jackie for mental and financial deceit. The loyal husband we knew is gone, shattered by betrayal. Chris Webber left court bruised but vindicated, reportedly negotiating a Netflix docuseries. Next week, Chantel will testify, not defending her mother or Doug, but revealing her own truth. This isn't just TV drama. It's a full meltdown watched by VH1, FBI, IRS, reporters, and fans. Karma's here, and the truth keeps unfolding.